allegations have surfaced that Queen Camilla is rekindling a former relationship, in an astonishing revelation that has sent shockwaves across the palace. According to reports, King Charles is apparently on the verge of divorcing because to this scandalous occurrence. The royal family is on high alert as rumors of palace intrigue continue to circulate and long-buried truths emerge. In light of Camilla's alleged treachery, what does the future hold for the monarchy? What will Charles do in the face of such a crushing defeat? Help us uncover the truth behind Queen Camilla's shocking remarks by following us as we explore the secret passages of Buckingham Palace. The marriage of Camilla and Charles has not been without its share of scandals. A fresh controversy, however, is causing problems once again. Their royal connection is shrouded in rumors of a possible divorce. The strain in their marriage. An important development has taken place with Camilla, the Queen Consort of England, who remains devoted to King Charles, particularly in light of his recent cancer diagnosis. They were married in 2005 after a long and difficult marriage that started in 1970. Both Brigadier General Andrew Parker Bowles and Camilla were involved in controversies, mostly pertaining to extramarital affairs, before they were married to Charles. Even though Andrew was flawed, Camilla was engaged with Charles. Camilla, despite being the object of intense scrutiny, was at Charles's side during his darkest hours, particularly the grief that followed Princess Diana's death. It should be noted that Andrew and Camilla had a friendly relationship, with Andrew even attending Charles's coronation. There has always been a strong bond between the king and Camilla. Orlando, it's your turn. Famous people's past relationships, particularly those involving members of the royal family, might color public perceptions of them now. It would seem that King Charles III is able to accept Queen Camilla's continued relationships with her ex-partner. However, the most noteworthy revelation comes from a former advisor and assistant at Buckingham Palace. This person said that King Charles III often becomes quite angry when he finds out that Camilla has interacted with her ex-husband. It is stated that the ruler's wrathful outbursts are focused against the specific individual and not at a lack of confidence on his side. A whirlwind of rumors circulates inside the royal walls as Queen Camilla seems to ignore her husband's irritation. There is speculation that the present strife within the royal family may spark a shocking and unexpected split. But for some, the royal couple's adjustment to their new roles as King and Queen of England is nothing new. On this subject, people have different views. But Queen Camilla's close relationship with her ex-husband clearly exacerbates the chaos in the royal family. An ex-employee has predicted that this would have far-reaching consequences. The issue is still up in the air, particularly since King Charles III is known for being both calm and patient, with the ability to explode in rage and shake Buckingham Palace. What the king decides to do in this specific situation is anybody's guess. The cordial relations between Queen Camilla and her ex-husband have been the subject of recent media stories in Britain, which have generated much controversy. There is a palpable air of anxiety right now. Is Queen Camilla's behavior going to cause them to divorce? How would the future king handle this predicament? But before we go into that, let's look back at Charles and Camilla's love story and life together to see how they got to this point. The early life of Charles. On November 14, 1948, when his maternal grandfather, King George VI, was in power, Charles was born. Princess Elizabeth, Duchess of Edinburgh, later Queen Elizabeth II, and Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, are his parents. He is their firstborn. Charles was born at Buckingham Palace by a caesarean section. Anne, 1950, Andrew, 1960, and Edward, 1964, were the subsequent children of Princess Elizabeth and the Duke of Edinburgh. Charles Philip Arthur George was christened by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Geoffrey Fisher, on December 15, 1948, in the music room at Buckingham Palace during his christening ceremony. After George IV's death on February 6, 1952, Elizabeth II became queen. Consequently, Charles was designated as the future monarch. Charles, being the eldest son of King Edward III, received the traditional titles of Duke of Cornwall, Earl of Carrick, Baron of Renfrew, Lord of the Isles, Prince and Great Steward of Scotland, and the customary titles of the Scottish nobility as a result of a royal decree issued by Edward III in 1337. A year later, Charles was present at Westminster Abbey for his mother's coronation. Catherine Peebles became Charles's nanny and educational guru at Buckingham Palace when he was 5 years old. Charles started his formal education at Hill House Institution in West London in November 1956, breaking new ground as the first heir apparent to forego private instruction in favor of a traditional public institution. Stuart Townend, the founder and headmaster of the school, advised Charles to play football so he could develop his social skills and have equal interaction with others, regardless of his royal status. Subsequently, Charles continued his education at two institutions that his father had previously attended: Gordonstown in northern Scotland in April 1962 and Cheam School in Hampshire in 1958. In May of 2024, Charles was officially recognized as the patron of Gordonstown, further strengthening his connection to the establishment. The official biography of Charles, written by Jonathan Dimbleby in 1994, painted a picture of emotionally and physically estranged parents, bringing up the choice to register Charles in Gordonstown School, where he endured persecution. Dimbleby singled out Prince Philip as the culprit for his callous disregard for Charles's delicate temperament. After first drawing comparisons between Gordonstown and the notorious Scottish jail Calditz, Charles came to appreciate the school for helping him identify his own areas of strength and improvement. Charles, in an interview given in 1975, thanked Gordonstown for his stay there and disputed the widespread belief that the prison was as harsh as it was. Charles embarked on an unforgettable school trip to Papua New Guinea with his history instructor, Michael Collins Percy, in 1966 while attending Geelong Grammar School's Timbertop campus in Victoria, Australia. Looking back on 1973, Charles thought his tenure at Timbertop was the highlight of his academic career. Charles followed in his father's footsteps as head boy at Gordonstown. At the end of his academic career in 1967, he had earned 6 GCEO levels, 2 A levels with B and C marks, respectively in history and French. Looking back on his scholastic career, Charles confessed that he didn't love school and blamed his preference for remaining at home for his lack of enjoyment. Charles defied royal tradition by opting to pursue further education immediately upon the completion of his A-levels, bypassing the British Armed Forces. He entered the august halls of Trinity College, Cambridge, in the vivacious fall of 1967 and spent his undergraduate years delving into the fascinating disciplines of anthropology and archaeology before finally succumbing to the spell of history. With an insatiable appetite for learning, he took advantage of his second year to broaden his horizons by spending a semester at the University College of Wales in Aberystwyth, where he studied the Welsh language and culture in depth. Charles achieved a remarkable feat in his scholastic path when he became the first British heir apparent to graduate from university, a testament to his unmatched tenacity and devotion. In August 1975, following the conventional academic procedures, he was bestowed the title of Master of Arts, further enhancing his academic credentials and demonstrating his unwavering commitment to his academic endeavors. Charles's rise to power. Charles was bestowed with the titles of Prince of Wales and Earl of Chester on a delightful summer day in the year 1958. His mother did not publicly inaugurate him at Caernarfon Castle until 10 years later, when he was being watched by the whole country. This event took place in the presence of the nation. In light of the burgeoning feeling of Welsh pride that was there in the air, there were some people in Wales who were not very thrilled about it. In the following year, he was elected to his position in the House of Lords and gave a speech that was the first of its sort in more than a century, going back to the time of King Edward VII. Additionally, Charles had something to say in the year 1975. In 1976, Prince Charles established the Prince's Trust, and in 1981, he traveled to the United States of America. Both of these events were significant milestones in his public life. During the middle of the 1970s, he said that he was considering becoming the Governor-General of Australia, which was a proposition that was made by the Prime Minister of Australia, Malcolm Fraser. Sadly, this concept did not materialize since there was not enough support from the general population to make it a reality. Not much. Taking into consideration the fact that I have been traveling to Canada for the last 4 decades. As a result of this, Charles began to contemplate the significance of providing assistance just to have it rejected. Do you believe that Camilla's upbringing had a role in her becoming a member of the royal family? Camilla's early years in education. Camilla Rosemary Shand, born on July 17, 1947, at King's College Hospital in London, had her early years divided between a property in the busy South Kensington region of London and the lovely rural estate of the Lanes in Plumpton, East Sussex. Her parents were former British Army officer turned businessman Major Bruce Shand and the Honourable Rosalind Cubitt, daughter of Roland Cubitt, 3rd Baron Ashcombe, along with her younger sister Annabel Elliot and brother Mark Shand. Camilla came from a family with an interesting history that included Alice Keppel, the scandalous mistress of King Edward VII, a maternal great-grandmother, at St. Peter's Church in Firle, East Sussex. Shand had the sacrament of baptism on November 1, 1947. Rosalind freely gave her time and effort to help the Chailey Heritage Foundation, a remarkable non-profit organization for Sussex region disadvantaged young children. Later, he teamed up with Ellis, Son, and Vidler, a company having offices in London and Hastings. Thanks to her father, who often read to her, Shand grew to appreciate literature deeply in her early years. Growing up surrounded by dogs and cats, she picked up equestrian riding abilities fast from pony club camps and became really good at local gymkhanas at an early age. Her early years seem perfect in every sense. Shand began visiting Dumbrells, a mixed-gender institution in Ditchling Village, at the age 5. She headed to Queensgate School, conveniently close to her family's London house, Mila among her classmates, when she achieved double digits. She socialized with well-known people like singer Twinkle and Lynn Ripley, who said of her a girl with inner power and radiating confidence. Penelope Fitzgerald, a French instructor, thought of Shand as a vibrant and intelligent pupil. Her parents felt no need for her to hang around for A-levels. Hence, she left Queensgate in 1964 with only 1 O-level under her belt. She opted at 16 to enroll at the renowned Montfertil Finishing School in Tolochenaz, Switzerland. She flew straight to Paris after graduation to spend 6 magical months at TUM, the University of London Institute, absorbing French language and literature. Entering London's social scene, she made her big show on March 25, 1965 amid the brilliant array of 311 debutantes, leaving the comfort of her family home behind. She moved into a lovely flat in Kensington with her close friend Jane Wyndham, who happened to be the niece of the famous designer Nancy Lancaster. Shand then opted to go to a larger flat in Belgravia, where she shared living quarters with Lady Moira Campbell, the daughter of the 4th Duke of Abercorn. Later on, she lived with Virginia Carrington, the daughter of the 6th Baron Carrington. From 1973 until 1979, Virginia was married to Lord Ashko, Shand's uncle. She first began working as Camilla and Charles's personal assistant in 2005. Shand worked in administrative capacities at many West End venues and as a receptionist for the acclaimed decorating company Sybil Colfax and John Fowler in Mayfair. Word on the street was that her love of dancing caused her previous employer to be dismissed because she was often late. Shand never allowed it stop her from following her passion for horseback riding, usually seen racing across the countryside. Apart from that, she was very interested in art and even had particular instruction from a professional. Most of her works ended up in the garbage. Apart from her passion of painting, Shand also enjoyed fishing, gardening, and tending to her plants. Intrigued in the start of Charles and Camilla's affair, the controversies they encountered, and how they stayed together despite her marriage, watch this space to get the whole narrative. Camilla's first marriage. While Shand was working at her father's Mayfair wine business in the late 1960s, she crossed paths with Andrew Parker Bowles, who was a lieutenant in the Blues and Royals at the time and Simon's brother. Before their engagement was publicly announced in the Times in 1973, their relationship had its ups and downs over the period of many years. Their parents, according to Sally Bedell Smith, planned the public announcement of their engagement without consulting either of them, so Parker Bowles felt pressured to pop the question. The happy pair tied the knot in a solemn Roman Catholic ceremony at London's Wellington Barracks Guards Chapel on July 4, 1973. In contrast to the dapper 33-year-old Parker Bowles, the young 25-year-old Shand was there. Lady Emma Herbert, beloved goddaughter of Parker Bowles, was one of the bridesmaids, and the famous British fashion business Belleville Sassoon designed her stunning wedding dress. With an astounding 800 guests, the lavish ceremony was declared the social wedding of the year. Anne, daughter of Queen Elizabeth II, Margaret, sister of the Queen, and the adored Queen Mother were among the notable royal visitors who attended the ceremony and celebration. The happy couple bought Bolahide Manor near Allington and the picturesque Middlewick House in Corsham in Wiltshire, their new home. Tom, who was born on December 18, 1974, and Laura, who was born on January 1, 1978, were their two children. It should be noted that Tom is doubly privileged to be King Charles III's godson. Both children were raised in the Roman Catholic religion, which was heavily impacted by their paternal grandmother, Anne Parker Bowles. However, Camilla chose to stay committed to her Anglican faith and did not convert to Roman Catholicism. Despite Laura's decision to wed in an Anglican church, she attended a girls' Catholic school. Tom went to Eton instead of his father's alma mater, Ampleforth College, and he married someone who wasn't a Catholic. Tom will follow in his father's footsteps and become an Earl of Macclesfield, a highly esteemed title. After 21 years of marriage, the pair started the divorce paperwork in December 1994, stating that they had been apart for a long time and that this was the main reason for their choice. In July of that year, Camilla's father freely recognized the tough moment when Rosalind, Camilla's mother, lost her fight with osteoporosis. The London High Court Family Division considered the divorce petition in January 1995 and approved it. Officially, the divorce was completed on March 3, 1995. The next year, Andrew rekindled his love life and wed Rosemary Pittman, who sadly died away in 2010. It was supposedly in the middle of 1971 that Shand and Prince Charles met paths. It was at this point that Andrew Parker Bowles had broken up contact with Shand and begun to have romantic feelings for Princess Anne. Although they were both active in the same social circles and sometimes crossed paths at social gatherings, Shand and Charles had never formally met. They weren't introduced during a polo match, as is often believed. Rather, Giles Brandreth recalls that it was at the house of Lucia Santa Cruz, a mutual acquaintance, who arranged the encounter. Quickly, an indisputable bond developed between them, and their mutual acquaintances soon began to acknowledge their budding romance. While Charles enjoyed polo matches at Smith's Lawn in Windsor Great Park, they were regulars at Annabelle's in Berkeley Square and enjoyed the ambiance of the matches together. Over time, their friendship deepened to the point where Shand met Charles's family in Plumpton, and Charles's family met Shand's. Their once burgeoning romance, however, came to a sudden end when Charles enlisted in the Royal Navy in early 1973. Speculation abounds on the demise of their love affair. Charles may have seen Shand sooner than intended and neglected to beg her to wait until his return from abroad. According to Robert Lacey's 2008 book, Royal Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Diana, written by Sarah Bradford and published in 2007, suggests that Charles's breakup with Shand and maybe his engagement to Amanda Knatchbull were both orchestrated by Lord Mountbatten. Some say that the Queen Mother might have wished Charles had married one of her granddaughters from the Spencer family instead of Shand. One theory is that Charles wanted to wait until he was 30 years old before getting married, while another is that Shand was more interested in Andrew Parker Bowles. According to many historians, Charles would have encountered resistance to his marriage to Shand had he sought permission beforehand. The second Countess Mountbatten of Burma, Patricia Knatchbull, came clean in 2005 about the palace's disapproval of Shand as a marriage option. The relationship between Charles and Shand remained strong after this verdict. Charles sought solace in Camilla Parker Bowles's companionship after the terrible murder of Lord Mountbatten in August 1979, and by 1980, reports had begun to circulate that their romance had been reignited. According to reports, Andrew Parker Bowles admitted to having an affair outside of his marriage. Charles became romantically involved with Lady Diana Spencer as a result, and they were married in 1981. The affair first came to light in 1992 with the publication of Diana, Her True Story, and was again in the limelight in 1993 because to the Camilligant incident, which damaged Charles' reputation and put Parker Bowles under investigation. They reunited after Charles's marriage ended in 1986, and he admitted to their connection to Jonathan Dimbleby in an interview he gave in 1994. Camilla and Charles's royal union and marriage was clouded by what mystery and startling occurrences? Charles's wedding to Camilla. On the 10th of February in the year 2005, Clarence House made the formal announcement that Camilla Parker Bowles had been engaged to the Prince of Wales. Parker Bowles was given a diamond ring by Charles, which was supposedly bestowed to him by his grandmother at the time of his mother's birth. A diamond with a square cut was set in the center of the ring, and 3 diamond baguettes were laid out on each side of it. The marriage was blessed by the Queen, the government, and the Church of England, despite the fact that the concept of Charles marrying a divorcee caused a great deal of controversy. Her Majesty the Queen and Tony Blair, in addition to Rowan Williams, Archbishop of Canterbury, have both made public statements of their support for the cause. Following the announcement that Clarence House intended to be married, they were flooded with a torrent of 25,000 messages, the most of which were favorable, with a rate of 95 to 99%. Even though there was a sea of well wishes, the authorities noticed that there were 908 messages that were filled with animosity. This prompted them to conduct a comprehensive inquiry into the source of these letters. The wedding, which had been much awaited, was due to take place at Windsor Castle for a civil ceremony, and then go to St. George's Chapel for a religious blessing. The wedding was initially slated to take place on April 18, 2005. As a result of the absence of a marriage license at the castle, the organizers were forced to immediately shift the celebration to Windsor Guildhall. Unfortunately, this caused a hiccup in the plan that became unacceptable. Furthermore, the wedding had to be postponed by 1 day so that Charles and some of the guests could attend the burial of Pope John Paul II. This was done in order to show respect for the deceased clergyman. After much anticipation, the wedding ceremony was ultimately held on April 9, 2005. It is noteworthy that both Charles and Camilla's parents were not there. Instead, Camilla's son Tom and Prince William, who is Charles's son, served as substitute witnesses. The Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh were among those who were present during the blessing. Subsequently, they gave a spectacular banquet at Windsor Castle during their time there. The St. George's Chapel Choir, the Philharmonia Orchestra, and the well-known Welsh composer Alan Hodenosh were among the performers who contributed to the musical entertainment. As a kind gesture for the newlyweds, the Mariinsky Theatre Trust arranged for the Belarusian mezzo-soprano Ekaterina Semenchuk to perform a song that was specifically written for them. Following this, the couple embarked on a journey to Birkhall, the Scottish residence of Charles, in order to indulge in the delights of their honeymoon and simultaneously make their first public appearances together. Nevertheless, in the middle of a maelstrom of scandals and personal struggles, how was it that Camilla was able to rise to such a higher level of relevance within the sphere of the royal family? The incredible story of Camilla. Camilla was given the esteemed title of second most important lady in the British hierarchy once she became the Duchess of Cornwall. Only Queen Elizabeth II outranked her, usually at the 5th or 6th place in the hierarchy of her many kingdoms. Camilla trailed after the appropriate viceroy, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Queen, and the Prince of Wales. The Queen changed the royal order for private events. therefore elevating the Duchess to the fourth rank, just behind Princess Alexandra, Princess Anne, and the Queen. 2 years after her wedding, the Queen demonstrated her acceptance of Camilla into the royal family by giving her the magnificent diamond, tiara originally possessed by the Queen Mother, and presenting her the Royal Family Order of Elizabeth II insignia. After their marriage, Camilla's official abode also changed to be Clarence House, Charles's usual house. They love family gatherings at Highgrove House in Gloucestershire and holidays to Birkhall. They settled in Llywelyn in Wales by 2008, where they now spend their summers and organize significant events. Living between 1995 and 2003, Camilla still loves and uses Ray Mill House as a haven for connecting with her children and grandkids. Not dated. A statement from Clarence House claimed Camilla used to smoke, but has been smoke-free for several years now. She had a hysterectomy, acknowledged in March 2007, but the particulars were kept secret. She broke her left leg during April 2010's hill-climbing trip in Scotland. When Camilla and Charles's car was singled out by protesters in November 2010, they unintentionally became caught up in student demonstrations. I have to confess I have the cup. Later on, Clarence House issued a statement on the event, confirming that demonstrators targeted a vehicle carrying Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall, but happily the pair was uninjured. They were named in 2011 as those whose private data reportedly was targeted or obtained in connection to the news media phone hacking incident. On April 9th, the 7th anniversary of Camilla and Charles's marriage, the Queen bestowed upon Camilla the Royal Victorian Order. Charles first proposed naming a tavern in Poundbury Village after Camilla in 2015. It formally opened in 2016 as the Duchess of Cornwall Inn. Strangely enough, on June 9, 2016, the Queen kindly assigned the Duchess to the prestigious British Privy Council. In a very amazing event, Camilla was crowned Royal Lady of the Most Noble Order of the Garter on January 1, 2022, with thy kind favor. But in a more recent event on February 14, 2022, Camilla sadly tested positive with COVID-19 only days after Charles had also gotten a positive result. Both withdrew into self-isolation as advised upon their diagnosis. Crucially, Camilla and Charles had their first doses of the COVID-19 vaccination back in February 2021. Regarding Camilla's outstanding work ethic, from 2005 to 2022, she completed 3,186 engagements overall. Prince George, the next heir to the throne. When you are completely engrossed in keeping up with royal events, particularly those that involve the younger generation of the monarchy, time seems to fly by, in spite of the fact that it would seem as if Prince George was born at St. Mary's Hospital not too long ago. It has been an astounding 11 years since he made his dramatic debut into the physical world. Having now entered the domain of adolescence, the young prince, who is next in line for the throne of the United Kingdom, has now entered the realm of adolescence, a historic occurrence that is consistently honored with a unique birthday picture, a custom that was inherited from his parents, William and Kate, in a comfortable manner. In before of our own eye, the oldest kid in the Wales family has developed from a toy-loving infant into a responsible older brother. This transformation has taken place right before our eyes. The responsibilities that come with living in the public eye are being introduced to Prince George by his parents in order to get him ready for a future in which he may become a king. Their seldom public appearances, which are a manifestation of the love and respect that they have for one another, are a clear indication of the strong friendship that exists between Prince Charles and Prince George. Nevertheless, there was a recent disagreement within the royal family, when William and Kate discussed whether or not it was appropriate for George to have a more formal part in significant historical events. This disagreement caused some friction among the royal family. There was a time when his siblings would attend lavish parties, but now they seem sort of needless. As far as anybody is aware, the pair does not seem to have reached a conclusion about this matter, despite the fact that there was a significant disagreement between them over it. In the near future, Prince George will be required to adhere to the same royal travel regulations that his father had to observe in the year 1994. According to these laws, the two individuals who are next in line to the throne are not permitted to travel together for reasons of safety. Given that William is the current heir and George is the next in line, it is possible that this regulation will become effective when George reaches the age of 12 the following year. Naturally, Catherine is experiencing apprehension about the forthcoming shifts in circumstances. As a result of these looming upheavals, the particular and sometimes difficult road that members of the royal family are required to travel is brought into focus. These individuals must balance their personal sacrifices with their responsibilities to the kingdom. The three members of the royal family, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, are presently enjoying their summer break at Lambrook School to the fullest extent possible. Playing tennis is something that the little prince, who is 10 years old, simply loves doing. The possibility of his family moving to Onmer Hall in Norfolk means that he will have a great deal of opportunities to participate in the sport that he enjoys the most. The fact that Prince George will not be beginning his secondary education this year is an intriguing development when it comes to his educational opportunities. Because of this, he is in a situation that is significantly different from that of other children his age who are getting ready to start their academic careers in September. In its place, Prince George will continue to attend Lambrook, the famous preparatory school that he is presently attending, and he will also continue to participate in lessons on Saturdays. This choice is a component of a more comprehensive educational approach that Prince William and Catherine have developed. They are committed to ensuring that Prince George receives an education that is comprehensive in nature. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are delighted with the school because they believe it provides their oldest child with a solid upbringing and a high-quality education. They also believe that the school provides a loving atmosphere. The decision made by the royal couple to keep George enrolled at this institution for an additional year demonstrates their commitment to ensuring that their children have a consistent and stable environment in which to do their everyday activities. He is progressively gaining the essential ability to bear the duties and obligations that come with his position as the future king. Prince George is now in the process of developing these abilities. His parents have shown a strong dedication to providing him with the greatest available education and supervision, which shows that they are preparing him for the path that lies ahead, which includes both academic and personal components. At the present, Prince George is simply a little kid who is enjoying his boyhood. His family is carefully watching his development as he navigates his own destiny, and although he may one day take on a leadership position in the future, he is now just a young boy enjoying his childhood. You should click the next video that appears on your screen, as well as like and subscribe to this video if you found it entertaining.